house. My grandfather had one strange rule whenever I slept over at his house. No matter what was happening, no matter how late it was, if I heard him knock 3 times on my bedroom door, I had to get up, grab my shoes, and meet him in the garage within 60 seconds. No questions, no arguing, no bathroom trip first. 60 seconds, or he would come in and carry me out himself. And trust me, my grandfather was a 6'4" retired firefighter named Bo, who could absolutely still do it. To a 10-year-old kid, it was the weirdest rule on earth. My cousins thought it was hilarious. They'd come over for dinner and knock 3 times on random doors just to watch me flinch. By the time I was 12, I'd done the drill maybe 40 times. Sometimes he'd time me with a stopwatch. Sometimes he'd just be standing there with 2 mugs of hot chocolate when I got to the garage, laughing at my bedhead. I started to think the whole thing was just an excuse for him to spend weird late-night moments with his only grandson. One Friday night in November, I was sleeping over for the long weekend. My parents were out of town for their anniversary, and Grandpa Bo had made his famous chili for dinner. We watched an old Western together on his ancient box TV, and I fell asleep on the couch around 10. He carried me to the guest room like he'd done 100 times before. I remember half waking up as he pulled the blanket over me and hearing him whisper, "Sleep tight, Finn." I don't know what time it was when I heard it. 3 knocks. Hard, loud, the kind that rattled the door frame. I sat straight up in bed. My heart was already pounding before my brain caught up. I shoved my feet into my sneakers without tying them, grabbed the hoodie off the chair, and ran. The hallway was pitch black. The whole house was dark in a way it had never been before. No porch light, no kitchen light, not even the little orange glow from the microwave clock. I stumbled down the hall, banged my shoulder on the door frame, and pushed open the garage door. Grandpa Bo was already there, fully dressed, boots on, truck running. He didn't smile this time. He didn't have hot chocolate. He just said, "Get in the truck, Finn, right now." His voice was the same voice he used when I almost touched a hot stove when I was 6. Low, flat, final. I climbed into the passenger seat. He didn't even let me close my own door. He reached across me and slammed it shut, threw the truck in reverse, and pulled out of the garage so fast the tires squealed on the concrete. I looked back at the house as we drove away, still completely dark, every window black. "Grandpa, what's going on?" I asked. My voice sounded so small. He didn't answer for a long time. He just kept driving. We went about half a mile down the road, pulled into the empty parking lot of the little Baptist church on the corner, and he finally stopped the truck. He took out his old flip phone and dialed a number I couldn't see. Then he said 4 words I will never forget for the rest of my life. "Yeah, he's in the house." I didn't understand. I asked him who he was talking about. He just shook his head and put a finger to his lips. 2 minutes later, 4 police cars came flying down the road from the opposite direction. No sirens, just lights, and turned onto my grandfather's street. We sat in the church parking lot and watched the blue and red lights flash through the trees. It turned out my grandfather had woken up at 2 a.m. to use the bathroom and noticed that the motion light over the back deck was on. He looked out the kitchen window and saw a man crouched by the basement window, working on the lock with some kind of tool. The man didn't know anyone was awake. My grandfather didn't turn on a single light. He didn't make a single sound. He walked to the breaker box in the hallway, cut the power to the whole house so the intruder would think everyone was still asleep. Then he went and knocked 3 times on my door. The man they arrested that night had a knife, a roll of duct tape, and zip ties in his backpack. He'd been watching the house for 2 weeks. The police told my grandfather later that if he hadn't gotten me out of there, it would have been very, very bad. On the drive home from the police station the next morning, I finally asked him why he'd come up with the rule in the first place. He stared at the road for a long time. Then he said, "When I was a firefighter, I pulled a lot of kids out of houses. The ones who made it were the ones who'd practiced, the ones who didn't ask questions when someone told them to move." He looked over at me and said, "I just wanted you to be one of the ones who made it, kid." I'm 26 now. He passed away 2 years ago, and I still wake up sometimes thinking I hear 3 knocks on the door.